in a royal landscape perpetually scrutinized. The recent unsealing of documents related to the late financier Jeffrey Epstein has once again cast a harsh, unforgiving light on the turbulent history of Britain's House of Windsor, specifically spotlighting the former Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, and her ex-husband, Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. These revelations, however, serve as but the latest chapter in a long unfolding narrative of perceived entitlement and alleged egregious conduct that, according to explosive new accounts, systematically alienated the very staff meant to serve them, ultimately contributing to a dramatic royal reckoning. This is the story of how Britain's once most controversial royal couple managed, through a consistent pattern of outrageous demands and self-serving behavior, to turn the venerable Buckingham Palace staff against them, laying bare a stark contrast to the stoic discipline expected within the royal household. At the heart of these recent insights lies the compelling testimony of Paul Burrell, a figure whose unique vantage point within the royal family commands undisputed authority. Burrell is far from a casual observer or a commentator seeking ephemeral attention. His career in royal service spanned an extraordinary 21 years, beginning in 1976 when, as an 18-year-old footman, he entered the hallowed halls of Buckingham Palace. Within a mere year, his dedication and acumen earned him the distinguished position of Queen Elizabeth I's personal footman. His trajectory continued upwards, culminating in his role as Princess Diana's trusted butler, a position he held until her tragic passing in 1997. For his exemplary service, the Queen herself bestowed upon him the Royal Victorian Medal, a testament to his unwavering commitment. Thus, when Burrell speaks about the inner workings of palace life, his words resonate with the weight of decades of intimate, first-hand experience, offering an unparalleled glimpse behind the gilded facade. Burrell's highly anticipated new memoir, The Royal Insider: My Life with the Queen, The King and Princess Diana, which officially hit bookstore shelves in September 2025, meticulously paints a devastating portrait of Andrew and Fergie's domestic conduct during the zenith of their marriage. What immediately leaps from the pages is Burrell's vivid depiction of their lavish gluttony, a lifestyle that clashed fundamentally with the established traditions and deficient protocols of the royal kitchens. Queen Elizabeth II, a monarch renowned for her meticulous planning and abhorrence of waste, had cultivated a system that had functioned seamlessly for decades. Her method was simple yet profoundly effective. She personally decided in advance which specific dishes would be prepared each day, ensuring meals arrived at precise times, thereby minimizing both culinary extravagance and food waste. Andrew and Fergie, however, displayed a profound disinterest in adhering to any such established royal decorum around mealtimes, a disregard that instantly sowed seeds of chaos and resentment among the palace's dedicated kitchen staff. The newlyweds, with an apparent boundless appetite for spontaneity and indulgence, treated the royal chefs not as integral components of a historic institution but as their personal, round-the-clock restaurant. Burrell recounts how, multiple times throughout the day, they would place impromptu orders, demanding an array of dishes that kept the culinary team perpetually run off their feet. This level of extravagant demand, Burrell notes with a tone of quiet astonishment, surpassed even the entertaining habits of the Queen herself. The royal chefs, masters of their craft but accustomed to a structured environment, grew increasingly furious at the relentless, unpredictable pace and the perceived disrespect for their routines. The situation only deteriorated further, escalating into a constant flurry of lavish dinner parties, impromptu lunch gatherings, and elaborate tea services with their extensive circle of friends. These private festivities, often hosted within the couple's opulent Buckingham Palace apartments, frequently compelled staff to work until late into the night. Burrell vividly recalls a pivotal moment when the staff, pushed beyond their limits, veritably revolted against these incessant demands, protesting the unceasingly long hours required for the couple's private social engagements. One particular detail, meticulously recounted by Burrell, serves as a poignant encapsulation of the couple's entrenched sense of entitlement. According to his accounts, Andrew and Fergie would not even permit maids to enter their private rooms to perform the most basic of duties, such as making their beds. They would frequently remain in bed for extended periods, at all hours of the day, effectively shutting out the staff. This seemingly minor infraction had cascading effects, causing the normal, meticulously choreographed routines of palace life to grind to a halt around them. As Burrell succinctly put it, they profoundly abused the system. The situation eventually became so profoundly intolerable and disruptive that the palace staff, in an act of unprecedented defiance and desperation, resorted to an extraordinary measure. They lodged a direct complaint with Queen Elizabeth II herself. The monarch, famously private about her family matters, but deeply committed to order and frugality, was reportedly far from pleased with her favorite son and his wife. Burrell's narrative details how Her Majesty was compelled to personally intervene, stepping in to put an end to the couple's lavish gluttony, driven primarily by her deep-seated disdain for waste. Her reasoning, as conveyed by Burrell, was characteristically simple and unyielding. Why should Andrew and Fergie be permitted to operate under a different set of rules from everyone else within the royal establishment? This intervention underscores the Queen's unwavering commitment to the principles of duty and economy, even when confronting her own children. Burrell's memoir also provides invaluable insight into the initial perceptions of Sarah Ferguson among the palace staff. He famously described her as like a bouncy, uncontrollable red setter puppy, a characterization that, while perhaps affectionate in intent, also hinted at a certain lack of restraint or understanding of royal protocol. Crucially, Burrell notes that Fergie never achieved the same level of popularity downstairs among the staff that Princess Diana had by then cultivated. Diana, despite her own struggles with the royal machine, had a knack for connecting with people across all strata. Fergie, as a newcomer, was perceived as needing to earn their trust, a task she seemingly struggled with. One incident, more than any other, perfectly captured the simmering resentment and unvarnished attitude of the staff. Burrell recounts a moment when a deeply frustrated staff member, in a moment of unguarded anger, shouted, loud enough for everyone in the vicinity to hear, including, remarkably, the Queen herself, "What does that red-haired mare want for lunch?" The silence that followed was deafening. Not a single royal present uttered a word, nor did anyone reprimand the staff member. The moment simply passed, as if it had never occurred, a chilling testament to the unspoken solidarity and deep-seated disaffection that had taken root among those serving the couple. The most damning claims, however, are reserved for Prince Andrew's direct and consistent treatment of those who served him. Burrell states unequivocally that he personally witnessed Andrew's profound pomposity over the years. According to his accounts, Andrew would routinely tell people to F off, get out of here, in what Burrell characterized as an obscene manner. A stark and shocking indictment of how he interacted with the very individuals dedicated to his service. Burrell's account is not isolated. Other credible sources corroborate his claims, painting an equally unflattering picture. Royal biographer Henry Loney, whose book entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York was published in August 2025 and swiftly became a #1 Sunday Times bestseller, levels accusations of cruel behavior towards staff, bullying, and impossible demands against Prince Andrew. Loney documents a specific incident where Andrew reportedly called a staff member an imbecile simply for failing to refer to the Queen Mother by her full, formal title, highlighting a fixation on rigid protocol that stood in stark contrast to his own disregard for other established norms. Beyond these recent publications, other former employees have come forward with strikingly similar stories over the years, contributing to a consistent pattern of behavior. A senior footman, for instance, once revealed to an undercover reporter that when waking Andrew in the morning, an expletive was just as likely a response as a polite good morning. Adding to this litany of alleged misconduct, former Royal Protection Officer Paul Page claimed that Andrew maintained a collection of 50 or 60 stuffed toys and would erupt in shouts and verbal abuse if maids did not arrange them in the precise, specific order he dictated, revealing a bizarre and tyrannical micromanagement of his personal space. Beyond the domestic chaos and staff alienation, social and financial turbulence also swirled around the couple. Sarah Ferguson's profligate spending habits became legendary within royal circles, often leading to significant financial distress. By 1994, reports indicated that her accumulated debts had soared to exceed a staggering $3 million. The Queen, ever the pragmatic matriarch, reportedly intervened and bailed her out on several occasions, including one substantial payment of $500,000 after Coutts Bank demanded immediate repayment, underscoring the severity of her financial predicaments and the quiet interventions required to maintain royal decorum. These financial woes, coupled with the accounts of demanding and entitled behavior, painted a picture of a couple seemingly detached from the realities faced by others, even those in their immediate employ. The cumulative weight of these actions and allegations ultimately lead to a dramatic and definitive unraveling of Prince Andrew's royal standing. In October 2025, King Charles III, embarking on a clear mission to streamline the monarchy and address past controversies, initiated a formal process to strip Andrew of his remaining titles. The result was absolute and uncompromising. No longer a prince, no longer a duke, Andrew was reduced to the plain, unadorned designation of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. This institutional demotion was swiftly followed by a physical eviction from his long-time residence, Royal Lodge, necessitating his relocation to the Sandringham estate in early February 2026. A clear signal of his diminished role within the royal family. What transpired next at Sandringham brings this saga full circle, offering a poignant and perhaps karmic conclusion to 2 years of alleged mistreatment. From the Sun, staff at the Sandringham estate were granted unprecedented permission to refuse serving Andrew if they felt uncomfortable in his presence. A policy decision reflecting the deep-seated reputation he had cultivated. Remarkably, quite a list of staff members opted to exercise this right, explicitly declining to serve him. One anonymous source, speaking candidly about the situation, described him as a total pariah. This final indignity, from the palace chefs who raged about his demanding habits in the 1982 to the Sandringham staff, in 2026, were empowered to refuse to serve him, suggests that Andrew's lifelong treatment of those who worked for him has, at last, caught up with him. As one insider poignantly observed, for the very first time in his privileged life, he may well have to open the front door to people himself. A stark and symbolic reversal of roles that encapsulates the profound and lasting consequences of a life lived with perceived impunity within the hallowed, yet increasingly unforgiving, walls of the British monarchy.